Your divine garden. Imagine your DNA as a vast field of soil. So extensive that if you took the DNA from your trillions of cells and laid it out from one end to another, it would reach the sun and back an astonishing 300 times, or wrap around the Earth's equator 2.5 million times. It's hard to fathom that we have such a voluminous genetic field of intelligence within us. What might also be interesting is that most is not even activated. Only a small percentage of our DNA has bloomed into a garden. Now imagine that each seed buried within the soil is a light code. Just as plant seeds carry encoded information, a set of instructions divinely designed and imprinted, light codes carry their own living language that informs us of the nature and purpose of our higher self, and that of the cosmos. Held in the ancient universal language of sacred geometry, colors, sounds, tones and frequencies, light codes carry the signature gifts, wisdom and memory imprints of our soul's many incarnate journeys on this and other planes of existence. They are the seeds of our divine genetic potential and contain the blueprint of all creation. For the same reason most humans live in a state of amnesia from birth, forgetful of their past lives and divine inheritance including their soul gifts and purpose, light code seeds are buried in the soil, inactive and sprouted. Like plant seeds, they are paradoxically latent yet alive potentials, secretly full of utility and vitality. They are rich with sacred talent. In other words, our biological DNA is a repository for our encoded angelic template, the divine temple of our soul. Our angelic seeds remain mostly snug and asleep, buried in deep, until something bursts them to life and into our human awareness, which I'll get to. With ongoing activations, because it's a journey, and there will be many levels, our cellular biology awakens and transforms into our divine genome. The vast array of sacred geometry, frequency, color and sound flow into our nervous system, heart and human awareness. In embodied resonance and residence, our divine garden comes to life. We remember the angels we are. Greater amounts of our higher genetic potential, immaculately woven into our divinity, is actualized and utilized. Gifts, perhaps mastered lifetimes ago, are suddenly remembered, and our creative power comes to new life. Cellularly and in our hearts, we realize the ancient wisdom of the stars and the knowledge of the universe. The living light library, as held in the aforementioned language templates. We remember who we are at the individual soul level, why we are here as star beings, as well as our shared cosmic oversoul. We become more loving, as love itself, with all its expressions like compassion, playfulness, sensual pleasure, and creativity. We grow into and enjoy the abundant garden of life we are. This is a miraculous alchemical quantum leap in consciousness from carbon to crystalline, one that rebirths our heart, mind and body. It's the great work ambitiously sought by the ancient alchemists, their philosopher's stone of divine, embodied immortality. It's the deepest secret of all mystery school traditions and their rites of initiation, which, through death and rebirth, summoned our seeded divinity into radiant being. It's the most esoteric and misunderstood teachings of Jesus, for to be crystalline is to be Christalined. Here, we find the true meaning of being born again, overlooked by indoctrinated Christians. We are born anew through light code activation. By having our experience and perception altered through the anointed, Christed, altar of our sacred form. Rather than projecting our higher self onto Jesus and waiting for his rapturous return, we awaken the Christ light we are, and have always been. Our encoded Christ light seeds flower, at long last, from the dark earthen humus of our humanity. They resurrect from dormancy, and we, as winged angels, ascend beautifully bloom to new heavenly heights. We become the second coming the world is ready for, rooted in our earthen sacred form. We embody the original garden of invincible innocence, most powerfully in our flowering sacred rose heart. Naturally, we share the diverse abundance of our inner garden for all to see and feel, and for all to be blessed by. Even without doing anything, just by having our angelic garden in delightful bloom, those who walk by us take in, often at an unconscious level, the beneficent spectrum of our divine nature. As the saying goes, when a master walks through a village, the village changes. We are those masters in the making, and tending to our garden is the journey. Though scientists and academic minds would scoff at this assertion of light codes, our carbon DNA, which is what most largely operate from, is indeed only one level of consciousness. It's what some call third dimension consciousness, where divinity still shines, but clouds are thick and light codes remain mostly dormant. Evolving out of this dense, material, reductive consciousness dominating the last few thousand years only transpires through a genetic quantum leap, the activation of our divine seeds destined for this time. As this alchemical upgrade takes hold in our quantum fabric, our cells vibrate at an increasing rate. It's the raised vibratory frequency that gives us a heightened embodied sense of who we are as light beings having a human experience. We ascend beyond the limits of our 3D reality to higher dimensions, and invite others with us. From the inside out, we birth a new colorful world. This is hard to imagine for most and would be quickly refuted or laughed at by the majority. However, one just needs to look at the miraculous results my clients have experienced in their online healings and activations to find evidence for this quantum transmutation and transformation. To see that there is unquantifiable intelligence operating beyond the bounds of conditioned and learned logic. A skeptical 3D, material mind will, most often, perceive and find confirmation bias to validate its limited and familiar paradigms. It does not have eyes to see and ears to hear. One needs to courageously heal and activate enough to transcend the limits of carbon perception. Humble, embodied experience, vulnerably graced by tears, ultimately opens the sensory gateways to higher understanding. For most, healing is a necessary first step in creating this tender, heartfelt opening and activating our light codes. Healing is the process of clearing out, transmuting, the trauma imprints and programming incurred from this and previous lifetimes, and inherited from our ancestors. It creates quantum space for the crystalline light of our higher self to integrate into our genome, for our holy seeds to burst to life. This healing and activation process is not easy, by any means. It's not for the faint of heart. For like the soils of Mother Earth, the soils of our DNA have been depleted, encrusted, lacking the active, intelligent substance that comes from receiving regular water and sunlight. This nourishing, healing water is our tears. And we have many tears to shed as a species, do we not? Unlike tribal communities where grief is communally expressed and honored in ceremony, as part of simply being an integrated human connected with the land, We Neuro-Eastern cultures have denied our emotional body, our emotional wealth. A psychophysiology unable to weep with regularity becomes hard and detached, unable root in the fertile ground, and unable to open to the light above. Lost between both, in the shallow horizontal matrix of our material, success-driven world, humans numb and distract themselves and call this normal. This pattern is nothing new. It goes back many thousands of years, all the way back to ancient Atlantis and before that to Lemuria, when, after decades of being thriving advanced civilizations, each succumbed to the guiding influences of darkness, ones that, still today, cloud us from the light we are. For we are governed by the dark's legacy of patriarchal power structures determined to keep us asleep, separate, disembodied, and under their frequency control. Age-old blueprints of pain, fear and submission have corrupted our DNA for lifetimes upon lifetimes. And this altered genetic manuscript, as engineered by the shadow forces, has been the foundation upon which our current dysfunction and destruction reigns. This includes, and is not limited to, the barbaric influence of religion, our coercive education system. Distorted family values, the military-industrial complex, the deep state, corporate-controlled government, and its use of its puppet media to propagate its deceptive narratives. As a result of all this, our sovereign divinity has long been denied. With DNA corrupted and conditioned by dark overlords and an insane, blind society, we are operating from such limited genetic potential, and thus access to our soul, and infinite light bodies. Despite this, the human spirit has prevailed at all odds. It's hard to find a parent who doesn't love their child, or a school teacher who is not well-intended in their desire for their students to learn. There are still many good-hearted people in government, and in our military as well, but without their divinity activated, and with immense grief unfelt, their angelic seeds and potential remain quietly dormant, hidden under layers of dry, nutrient-deficient soil. Their heartfelt, sensory, or subtle perception lacks. They struggle accessing the wisdom of their higher self and emotional body, and making the meaningful difference in the world they long for. Indeed, governed by the patriarchal corrupted coding in their DNA, the multitude blindly serve, or enslaved to the patriarchal forces in unfulfilling jobs, working 40+ hours per week, while giving a high percentage of their hard-earned money away in taxes, which is utter thievery by our dark feudal overlords whose banking system is a complete fraud, and who perpetually desire to keep us poor and more. The quantity and quality of family time suffers, as a result, along with mental, emotional, and physical health. Again, all this is considered quite normal for a society addicted to complacency and victimhood. Healing our wounds, clearing programming, and activating dormant light codes, which is personal empowerment, is thus absolutely essential work. Claiming and leading from our sovereign divinity is the real work of these times, especially given what's at stake before us. Let's now continue our exploration of blossoming your divinity with another metaphor that I hope helps you understand light codes. Imagine your soul as a raindrop, and that everything in the entirety of the oceanic universe is within that drop you are. You are whole and complete, in essence, a uniquely sovereign holographic representation of the Creator. When sunlight finds you, you radiate the 7 electromagnetic colors of the rainbow. Those color potentials, or dormant light codes within, become activated with the help of sunbeams, thereby increasing your radiant expression. Until the light finds you, they are potentials only. They are awaiting their time to shine bloom. In the mysterious universe, there are many kinds of color rays. Again, color is a living light language. That can find our soul and activate different light code potentials when we are ready. For instance, there is the cosmic orange ray, which is one with and activates our sacral chakra, empowering our sexual, creative, Shakti soul embodiment. There is also diamond light, which purifies our heart and connects us more deeply to our archangelic nature and original innocence. Each cosmic ray plays a purpose in our soul's evolution by carrying particular light intelligence that activates our encoded crystalline potential, synonymous with that ray. This the epigenetic switching on of our divine genome, with epi meaning above. In this case, it means higher, as in higher dimensions that are providing the celestial environmental signals, or rays, that frequency activate our rainbow or raindrop soul codes, in other words. In a process called resonant mirroring, our crystalline codes calibrate to their familiar home frequencies in energetic excitation, which brings them to life. For example, if the raindrop you are is so fortunate to be met by the indigo ray, your divine wealth of indigo codes will calibrate to this frequency and activate. To the degree you are open, your spectrum of colors and ascended awareness expands, particularly in your activated indigo third eye temple. When I transmit amethyst violet light into my clients, this ray has a special focus on purify, balancing and activating the crown chakra. It provides deep quantum healing and sparks crystalline upgrades beyond our crown as well, such that we embody more of our encoded violet light body in our subtle energy channels and in newly formed neural pathways. All rays ultimately emanate from the one source of pearlescent white light, which itself is born from Divine Mother's holy black womb, our primordial birthing and resting place of still peace. Just as white contains the full spectrum of both known and unknown to humans colors, this first ray, the great central sun, the one begotten sunlight, radiates all color rays throughout the multiverse. They flower from the fertile dark ground of our great mother's womb, birthing the iridescent garden of our soul and life. Each raindrop soul will express light differently given its sovereignty, its unique finger blueprint, given all its accumulated experiences. No two raindrops or water molecules are the same. It is indeed paradoxical, perhaps the greatest paradox of all, that we are holograms of the entire universe, perfect living fractals, and yet we are unlike any other soul. We each embody and radiate differently, and yet we express from, and are harmonized by, the same unified source, one light, many lampshades. Alchemically purify, or healing, the water droplet you are is the key to embodying and radiating wider spectrums and higher frequencies of iridescent, crystalline light. Colors you dared not imagine find their way into your heart and human awareness, forever altering you. Soon, you are defying the bounds of reason you were taught and thought to be true. The sensory gates open wider, and like with the beautiful colors and fragrances of your rich garden, your radiance cannot help but touch people again, even if they don't have full awareness. You anchor those activated frequencies onto Mother Earth via your neurobiology. and you broadcast them through your Stargate temple form, especially your sacred rose heart, the cardinal Christ temple of love. Your activated human form realizes its potential as a divine portal, miraculously mirroring and capable of holding the entire cosmos. You realize your potential as a frequency holder and emitter of stellar consciousness. The more you purify and open, increasing quotients of crystalline light activated through the prism that is you, you refract that loving divine energy into the world, and assist, by your very being, global awakening. You bring heaven to earth, the beautiful, infinite heaven you are. Now, at this particular time, as we transition into the age of Aquarius, an age of light, there lies an opening for us to ascend like never before. Though the escalating turmoil around us says otherwise, this is indeed our collective moment, our great initiation into the field of unimaginable flowers we are. So what are your thoughts about your changing DNA? Please feel free to comment your thoughts below. I would like to thank you for joining me here today on my channel, Enlightenment in the Darkness. Please like and subscribe to my content. Many blessings to the rest of your day.